One missed family engagement. That's all it took for two people who loved each other to stop speaking for themselves and let everyone else speak instead. Saturday was supposed to be simple. Claire's cousin was getting engaged, and Ethan had promised weeks ago that he'd be there. On Thursday afternoon, his manager walked into his office. "I need you for the Henderson presentation this weekend." Ethan looked up from his laptop. "Saturday?" "The client moved the meeting. You're leading it." He already knew there wasn't much room to argue. That evening, he sat across from Claire at the dinner table. "I need to tell you something." She looked at him for a moment. "You can't make it." He nodded. "I tried everything I could." She stared quietly at her plate. "You promised." "I know." "My parents already told everyone you were coming." "I know." She let out a slow breath. "I just wanted you there." "And I wanted to be there." Neither raised their voice. Neither insulted the other. It was simply one of those moments where two people loved each other, but couldn't see the situation through the other's eyes. Claire stood up and carried her plate to the sink. "Let's not talk about it tonight." "Okay." That night, Claire stopped by her mother's house after work to help with the engagement preparations. Her mother noticed something was bothering her. "What happened?" Claire hesitated. "It's nothing." Her mother smiled. "Nothing doesn't look like that." Claire finally sighed. "Ethan can't come tomorrow. His company moved an important presentation." Her mother frowned. "He promised, didn't he?" "He did." Meanwhile, Ethan dropped by his sister Emma's apartment on his way home. "You look tired," she said, handing him a coffee. He smiled. "Claire's upset because I have to miss her cousin's engagement." Emma looked surprised. "You have work." "I know." "So why are you feeling guilty?" He shrugged. "It means a lot to her." Emma replied gently, "Ethan, sometimes people have to understand that work isn't always a choice." Neither woman intended to make things worse. They were simply trying to comfort someone they loved. Neither realized they were listening to only one half of the same conversation. Claire walked toward her car as the engagement ceremony came to an end. Before she could start the engine, her phone rang. It was Ethan. "How did it go?" She let out a tired sigh. "It was okay." "Was everyone asking where I was?" "Almost everyone." "I'm sorry." "I know." There was a long silence. Finally, she said, "My uncle actually asked Dad if work was just an excuse because you didn't want to come." Ethan closed his eyes. "What did your dad say?" "He defended you." "And your mom?" Claire hesitated. "She didn't. I really tried to get out of it." "I know." "But they don't." She looked out the windshield. "They think you just didn't care." The call ended. Neither blamed the other, but both carried the hurt. That evening, Ethan stopped by Emma's apartment. "What happened?" He told her everything. Emma listened quietly. "You've been there for every birthday, every anniversary, every family gathering." Ethan didn't respond. "You miss one because of work." She shook her head. "And suddenly you're the husband who doesn't care?" "I just feel bad for Claire." "And who feels bad for you?" He looked down. "Someone should have explained your side instead of letting everyone assume the worst." An hour later, Ethan called Claire. "I've been thinking." "About what?" "I just wish someone had explained why I couldn't come, instead of everyone deciding I didn't care." Claire frowned. "They were disappointed." "I know. But disappointment doesn't make assumptions fair." The conversation ended politely. Neither realized they had stopped speaking as husband and wife and started speaking through the people who had comforted them. Claire walked back inside. Her mother noticed her expression. "What happened?" "Ethan called." "What did he say?" Claire repeated the conversation. Her mother's face hardened. "So now our family is unfair?" "He didn't say that." "But that's what he meant." Before Claire could answer, her mother picked up the phone. "Ethan." Hello. I just wanted to say something. Go ahead. I know work is important. It is. But Claire stood there alone while everyone kept asking where her husband was. I'm sorry. There was a brief silence. Then she continued. You should know something. Ethan waited. You will never find a better woman than my daughter. He remained silent. She has stood beside you through everything. Another pause. And instead of appreciating that, her voice hardened. You're accusing her family. Ethan finally spoke. I'm not accusing Claire. Then what exactly are you saying? I'm saying it hurt that everyone decided I didn't care without asking why I wasn't there. My daughter deserved better. He took a slow breath. What do you mean? I mean, Claire deserves a man who puts her first. Another silence. So, he said quietly, you think she settled for me? I didn't say that. You didn't have to. He closed his eyes. If that's truly how you feel, his voice almost broke, then it's not too late. He ended the call. An hour later, Emma walked into the living room. Ethan was staring at the blank television. What happened? He told her everything. Without saying a word, Emma picked up her phone and called Claire. Claire answered after a few rings. Hello? Claire, I just spoke to Ethan. I can't believe your mom said those things to him. Claire closed her eyes. He wasn't the only one who got hurt. Emma frowned. What do you mean? He told Mom, if that's how she felt, then it wasn't too late. Emma was silent for a moment. Then she said quietly, if your family thinks my brother isn't good enough for you, she took a slow breath, then no one has to settle. Claire didn't say anything. My brother doesn't need someone to settle for him. Her voice became firmer. He deserves a family that respects him just as much as he respects them. Claire's eyes filled with tears. So that's it? Emma didn't answer. It felt like he told us to find someone else. Before Emma could explain, Claire disconnected the call. That night, neither Ethan nor Claire felt ready to go home. Ethan stayed at Emma's apartment. Claire remained with her parents after the engagement weekend. By that night, it wasn't Ethan and Claire arguing anymore. It was two families trying to protect the people they loved. And neither Ethan nor Claire knew how to stop it. The next few days passed in silence. Ethan was still staying at Emma's apartment. Claire remained at her parents' house. More than once, Ethan unlocked his phone. Claire's name was right there. His thumb hovered over it. Then Emma's words echoed in his mind. Maybe it's time to stop chasing people who don't want to understand you. He locked the phone. Across town, Claire did the same. She stared at Ethan's name for several seconds. Then she remembered his words. Then maybe it's not too late. Her mother's voice followed. If he's already made up his mind, maybe you should start thinking about your own future. She quietly put the phone down. Neither knew the other had almost called. A few days later, Ethan stopped by the house while Claire was at work. He packed a few work clothes, his laptop, some files, his shaving kit. As he zipped the bag, he stood in the living room for a moment. He wasn't moving out. At least, that's what he kept telling himself. Later that afternoon, Claire stopped by the house to pick up a few things. She opened the closet. A few shirts were gone. His laptop bag was missing. The bathroom shelf looked emptier. She stood there quietly, then whispered, So, you meant it. That night, Emma sat beside Ethan. You can't stay here forever. He didn't answer. I've been thinking. He looked at her. Maybe this marriage has already reached where it's going. Emma. I'm not telling you what to do. She paused. I'm saying you deserve people who respect you. Ethan lowered his eyes. I still love her. I know, Emma sighed. But love isn't enough if you're the only one fighting. Across town, Claire's mother placed a cup of tea in front of her. You've hardly eaten. I'm not hungry. Her mother sat beside her. You can't wait forever. Claire remained silent. He hasn't come. No. Her mother gently squeezed her hand. If Ethan has already made his decision, she paused. Maybe it's time you started thinking about yours. Claire stared at the untouched cup. She didn't reply. The following afternoon, Ethan's phone rang. It was Daniel. You've disappeared. I've had a lot going on. So tell me. For nearly half an hour, Ethan told him everything. Daniel listened without interrupting. When Ethan finished, he smiled. My wife and I are having dinner tomorrow. So? I want you there. I'm really not in the mood. Daniel laughed. Neither am I. Despite himself, Ethan smiled. All right. Later that evening, Daniel called Claire. It's been a while. It has. You sound exhausted. I am. So tell me. Claire told him everything. Daniel listened quietly. When she finished, he said, My wife and I are having dinner tomorrow. I'd like you to join us. I don't know. It's just dinner. After a long pause, Claire quietly replied, All right. The following evening, Ethan arrived first. Daniel greeted him with a hug. A few minutes later, the restaurant door opened. Claire stopped walking. Ethan slowly turned. Their eyes met. Neither had expected the other. Daniel smiled. I know. Neither spoke. I didn't tell either of you, he shrugged, because neither of you would have come. They sat down. Dinner was awkward. Daniel and his wife carried most of the conversation. Ethan and Claire answered politely but barely looked at each other. As dessert arrived, Daniel set down his spoon. Can I ask you both something? They looked at him. Who are you fighting? Neither answered. Daniel smiled slightly. I've been sitting here for almost an hour. I don't see the two of you fighting. He looked at Ethan. When you speak, he paused, I hear Emma. Then he turned to Claire. And when you speak, I hear your mother. Silence settled over the table. So whose marriage is this? He looked at Ethan. Yours? Then at Claire. Or theirs? Neither said a word. Daniel's wife gently added, Not once tonight did either of you say you stopped loving each other. The silence grew heavier. Daniel stood up. I think we've said enough. His wife smiled and picked up her purse. Daniel placed his hand on the back of Ethan's chair. The rest of this conversation, he looked at both of them, belongs to the two of you. He smiled. Take your time. Without another word, Daniel and his wife quietly walked away. For the first time since the argument, there was no mother, no sister, no voices speaking for them. Just Ethan and Claire, finally sitting across from each other. For a long moment, neither of them spoke. Finally, Ethan looked at Claire. How are you? Claire opened her mouth to answer. Nothing came out. The dark circles beneath her eyes, the forced smile, the exhaustion she couldn't hide, said everything. After a few seconds, Claire looked at him. How are you? Ethan let out a quiet sigh. Neither of them needed an answer. Another silence settled between them. Ethan looked down at the table. So, he said quietly, you think you settled for me? Claire frowned. And I heard you're looking for someone better. He slowly looked up. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Then Ethan asked, Did you ever say that? Claire slowly shook her head. Did you? He shook his head. Silence. Claire finally asked, Why didn't you call me? Ethan looked at her. You could have called me too. I did. He frowned. The day after the engagement. You missed the party. I called to apologize. You did. You accepted my apology. I did. Then, Claire asked softly, What are we doing? Ethan looked at her for a long moment. I'm sorry. For what Emma said. Claire shook her head. And I'm sorry. For what my mother said. Another silence. Ethan looked down. I should have called you. Claire smiled sadly. Me too. They both laughed quietly. Not because anything was funny, but because the answer had been so simple. Claire leaned back in her chair. Why did we let them fight for us? Ethan shook his head. It's our marriage. They don't know how we feel. They never could. Claire wiped away a tear. What a stupid thing we did. Ethan nodded. Emma was only trying to help. So was Mom. Neither blamed them. After a moment, Claire quietly asked, But did we actually need help? Ethan thought for a second, then slowly shook his head. No. We were hurt. We were angry. But we still had each other. Claire looked at him. I haven't slept properly in days. Her voice broke. I kept replaying everything in my head, wondering when I lost you. The tears finally came. Ethan reached across the table and gently held her hand. You never lost me. She looked at him through her tears. I don't want to lose you. He squeezed her hand. You won't. A long silence followed. This one felt peaceful. Ethan smiled. Let's go home. Claire nodded. Yeah, let's go home. Sometimes the people who fight the hardest for us are the ones with the least to lose. They step in because they love us. But over time, they can become so invested that our relationship quietly becomes their battle. Support is important, but support also needs boundaries. The moment someone starts speaking for your relationship instead of standing beside it, they may be fighting for something you no longer want. What do you think? Where should that boundary be? When does support stop being support and start becoming interference? If you enjoy stories that explore the complexities of relationships and the difficult choices people make, please like this video, subscribe to Forge Stories, and join us for a new original story every day.